Hello, start of another week. So it's Monday, 14th of September today. I can probably tell by the light, not Monday morning, Monday night. Just gone 10 o'clock actually. I'm out still on the road. Yeah, so I started a bit later today, just because I was away over the weekend, had a few things to sort out at home. So I didn't really start looking until 10. Actively sat looking, bidding for jobs I could do immediately. I bid on a few jobs from earlier in the morning that came up for pickup later in the morning, if that makes any sense. But I thought I'd bid a bit optimistically on them, but yeah, I didn't get any. So I started bidding properly at 10, got my first job 10:30, just down the road from home. West Midlands job up to Manchester. It's like M15, M16 postcode, so I thought it won't be too central. Turned out to be quite central, but not the end of the world. One of these new big skyscraper office blocks are building in like East Manchester, sort of towards Salford way, I think. Not that I know Manchester very well. Easy enough drop. That was duct work. Obviously for one of these new skyscrapers, just like your thin metal ducting that you see inside for heating and ventilation, all that stuff. Yeah, got that off easy enough, and then went and parked around the corner, retail park. Bid on a few jobs. Took me a little while to get my next job, even though it was quite busy in Manchester. And I'd say I was still getting the feed from home. I'd say the northwest and Manchester, I was getting more from that area than back in the Midlands, which is quite interesting to me. And then last time I was at the northwest, Warrington way, it was crazy busy as well, but that was a Friday. So yes, I think the northwest is pretty busy. Eventually picked up a job. Say eventually, it's probably an hour or so. Just to give me enough time to eat my meal day lunch. And that was, I accepted a job going from Oldham to Manchester down to Heathrow, where I am now. And then what I always do is when I accept a job and it comes through and I get the confirmation, if I've got other jobs that I've quoted on, so sometimes I might have 4 or 5 quotes out, and someone rings you with one job, you accept it to save the other ones sending you a job when they shouldn't do it anyway, or ringing you. I just go in and cancel the job. So I did that. I cancelled them all. There was only one I needed to cancel, a job up to the northeast. So anyway, got this job, cancelled all the other quotes, set off on my way to Oldham. The phone rings halfway there, and I'm thinking, oh, that must be the shipper from this job. But hope there's nothing wrong with the job. Pull over, because I didn't have my hands-free set up. Should have done. And it's somebody about another job saying, I've sent that job through to the northeast, Cramlington, I think it was, from Preston. Is everything okay? Have you seen it? And I was like, well, I want another job now. I cancelled that quote because I've accepted another job. Sorry, but I can't do it. It's not available anymore. And he didn't even reply, he just hung up. But I think that's it with shippers. They should always phone you beforehand. And if they don't, I imagine shippers sometimes are crazy busy and cut corners or whatever, but that's what happens, you see, because I was merrily driving along, watching the sat-nav, looking at the sat-nav on the road. So if anyone does watch my vlogs from Courier Exchange, you never know, they might do, because it's, see what people are saying about them. I've heard this before where people cancel quotes, but then shippers will still send them the job. Surely once you've cancelled a quote, the shipper can't then accept it. So there seems to be a bit of a glitch there. I've heard Pete, the courier driver, if you ever watch any of his vlogs, he's mentioned it before as well. So surely once you cancel your quote, it needs to have the shipper should not have the option to select and accept your quote. Seems a bit obvious to me, but obviously it can happen. Yeah, so I'm down here now, quite an easy drive. So first job was 63, I think, and this one was 153. I got down here about 7, so started 10, finished 7. I was at 9 hours, 216 for the day. So that's pretty good, really. That's the benefit of longer jobs. For me, seems to get better miles, pound per hour. Yeah, pounds per hour. So it was about 4-hour drive with a bit of traffic. Say bit of faff, you know, loading either side, even if you count for an hour. That's 5 hours and 150 quid. So that's like 30 quid an hour rather than 25 quid an hour, which I think you're more likely to get on the smaller jobs, shorter jobs. Yep, so that's Monday. I'm gonna tramp in the same space I tramped a few weeks ago, and I ended up in the same area, so it's quite good. I know a good spot to stop now, close to a Chinese, a chippy, convenience store, little park around the corner so I can go for a slash if I need to. Garage just down the road. Yeah, so I washed the van after I tipped. The van was absolutely filthy, so I used to jet wash, got the van nice and clean. I'll see in the morning how good a job I've done because I did it in the dark. So that's Monday done. Alright, Tuesday morning. I don't normally film my tramping spots when I stay in a rural location. I'll just quickly do this one. There's the van. You can see nice quiet flat spot. So you've got this little road here down to a church, which is a dead end, coming off the main road over there, little square. In the corner over there you've got two convenience shops, chippy, Chinese. I had my Chinese last night. And then that behind that church, walk through the graveyard, is a little park, so you can go for a slash if I need to. So yeah, lovely quiet little spot. Can't say quiet. Over there is Heathrow, so obviously they have a curfew at night, but this time of the morning it's quite noisy. Right, Tuesday evening now, about 6:30. Yeah, so down by Heathrow this morning, just south of Heathrow. I started really bidding for jobs about 8. Actually had a reasonable kip in the back of the van yesterday. Wasn't so cold. And I started bidding, like I say, about 8. I didn't actually get my first job till 10. I mean, there's plenty of jobs pinging up, but around London, a lot of them seem to be small van jobs, motorbike, car, all around London. And I wanted to get out of London, really. I totally avoid anywhere near the centre of London if I can. Eventually, I got a job 2 miles somewhere. It was less than 2 miles. It's a small van job, picking up like an envelope with a small box in it, going up to the Wirral. Yeah, sort of Port Sunlight way on the Wirral, so not far off the M56, really. Yeah, that was pretty straightforward, just delivering, but I was delivering to a residential address, something you don't always do. That was, yeah, from one of a multinational biggest suppliers of software to business. I'm guessing they must do a bit of hardware because I don't know what this must have been. And then literally parked up, checked what jobs are available. So if I don't know the area especially, I go straight to map view, see if there's anything close to me, and there was 2 jobs in Liverpool, so just the other side of the Mersey. So I bid on one of them, again a small van job, going to Sheffield, and then a few minutes later he rang me up, gave me the job. No bidding on it, no trying to knock me down or anything. So that was my day really. 2 jobs. I priced both of them at 65 pence a mile, including getting their miles, so because they're small van jobs, but I wasn't very far from either of them really. Forgot about the Queensway tunnel charge, but it was only £1.80, so it's not the end of the world. So I've tipped in Sheffield about 5:30, and then I've got a job booked for the morning from Doncaster. It's a short wheelbase job, 45 miles, a bid at 44 quid, but it's 25 miles to Doncaster, so it's going to work out about 63 pence a mile, so I underquoted that really. Doncaster to York, so that's 8:30 in the morning, so at least I'll be going before 10:30, you know. Yeah, so I get there for 8:30. I should have it tipped by 10 in York. York's not the best place, I can't imagine, but it's not a million miles from other places, Leeds and that. So yeah, not a bad place to tip. So doing something different. I'm going to stay in a hostel tonight. I booked myself, went on a booking. I thought Sheffield's got loads of student digs and all that kind of stuff, and quite a big city. Bound to be a hostel around here somewhere. Checked on booking.com, booked myself into a hostel that's kind of like on my way to Doncaster anyway. 18 quid for the night. So I'm going to treat myself tonight. I'll tell you why tomorrow. Yeah, treat myself to a bed in a dorm and a proper shower. Just got myself a ready meal from Tesco. So yeah, I'll have a ready meal, chill out in the hostel. That'll be nice. Sheffield seems like quite a nice place, what I've seen of it. Never really been here before. But yeah, that was Tuesday. One thing I will say about today was that second job. They were both priced at 65p a mile, including getting there. The first one was quite a long job, obviously, and that worked out. Took me 4.25 hours from getting a job to tipping the job, and it was £143. So that works out like pretty good mile, over £30 an hour. Whereas this second one was 2 hours of driving. I quoted 53. So was it 54? So you know, like, it works out with all the getting there and loading and unloading, even though it's quick. Yeah, it works out probably more like 20. So I reckon, especially the longer jobs where it's mostly motorway miles, you can earn better pounds per hour. It works out generally, traffic permitting, of course. But it was quite nice to drive over here from Liverpool to Sheffield, so a cut across the Pennines, beautiful day, great scenery. Because so far this week it's just been motorways, which just gets a bit monotonous and boring really. But yeah, that was Tuesday, done and dusted. Yeah, so Wednesday today, quite nice to stay in a hostel last night. The Russell Scott Hostels was the name in Sheffield, so yeah, it's pretty good. If I end up in Sheffield again, I'll no doubt be checking if they've got any spare room, because I quite like the place. Good place, breakfast provided in the morning, only just cereals and stuff, free coffee. In a dorm I was, obviously shared bathroom and all that stuff. But yeah, I quite like hostels. Nice to just sleep on a proper bed. So just a quick clip now from the hostel. There we go, bed for the night. Bit nicer than the van, even with potential a bit of company. Quite a nice hostel, to be fair. Yeah, so that was a bit of a treat really, because today, 16th of September, Wednesday 16th, is actually my birthday. So it's nice not to wake up in the back of a van, probably cold. Yeah, so 38 today I am. Yep, so did that job, so got up reasonably early. I had to get over to Doncaster, pick up at 8:30. That was just picking up, it's a short wheelbase job, picking up 60 desk fans. But there's 30 boxes, 2 in each box, and taking them to some student accommodation block in York. It's the same chain of student accommodation blocks I delivered to a few weeks ago to one of the blocks in London, Euston Road, London. Looks like they're all over the country. That was a bit of one of them jobs really. It kept me waiting about half an hour at loading, because it wasn't quite ready. But you can't complain about half an hour. And then when I got to the blocks, they had to be handballed, so I had to use my sack truck. Could only do 3 boxes at a time, so it was 10 trips, but it wasn't too far. It was only like, again, it's probably only 20 to 25 minutes, you know, so it's just a case of, it's kind of included in the quote, not worth kicking up a fuss about. So got that done. While I was waiting though on this job, what I like to do if I have to wait is I make sure everything's ready to go once I'm loaded. So put in obviously the destination address into the sat nav, Google Maps, but on this one it just didn't seem right. I always put the postcode in, or put the company name in if you can, because it's more likely to be accurate. But on this one, the postcode they gave me was just sending me to the university itself, University of York, and then on the map there's nothing about this accommodation block, the company. So I then checked, I just googled the actual name of the company and the building it was called, and that came up somewhere else. The postcode was different, and then I looked again on satellite maps, so you could obviously look at the standard view, change it to satellite image. Just where the drop was, the little ping was just in like surrounded by houses, and it's obviously not a student block there. So I went and got onto Google, not Maps, just Google Chrome on my phone, checked the website for this chain of student accommodation things, and then managed to find it from there on their location map, and that was accurate. So that was the case of if I hadn't bothered and just pinged in the postcode or even the name of the blocks and let trusted Google Maps, it would have took me to the wrong area. Not a million miles away, but still would have been a lot of faffing when I got to the end of the job. Yeah, so I managed to avert that, so I was quite happy with myself there. It's always worth checking if you get the time. So yeah, and Tipton York, around the corner to get my Morrison's meal deal. Gone really healthily today. Looks pretty good actually. Chicken, bacon and avocado salad with new potatoes, pineapple chunks and an innocent smoothie. So I'm going, yeah, pretty healthy for my birthday. Really treating myself. Yeah, picked up a job which was down towards Hull. It was a short wheelbase, no, a small van job, but around Hull and like Scunthorpe, the other side of the Humber Estuary. Very few drivers are down there, so I thought it's worth quoting. It was wasn't quite Hull, but it was down towards Hull, a bit further in the M62 if you know that area. Further west than Goole for sure. Yeah, and that was picking up, going to Wrexham. So I quoted. I thought I'm not doing 65p a mile, even if it is. If I was 30 miles away, it was a 140-mile job. I quoted at 68 pence a mile, so it's £117 for 142 miles loaded or something. Short, small van job, and I got it. And it was 50 minutes away drive. One of the big national companies. Yeah, so I went and picked up. That was ideal pickup. Turn up, less than 5 minutes. I was on the road. Gave me their own paperwork, loaded in no time. That's what you want. Shot over to here's Wrexham, mostly motorway again, a bit boring but straightforward. And it was 7 boxes, quite smallish boxes really, of disposable aprons going to a food factory in the Wrexham Industrial Estate. That's where I am now, back in the motherland again, back in Wrexham, just about Wales. So that's Wednesday so far. Hello again, still Wednesday, 16th. Yeah, I've moved on, I'm still in Wales, further into the motherland now, so I've moved west from Wrexham. So yeah, after that tipping that last job, just popped to the garage around the corner, fill up, eat my dinner, bit of a late lunch at about 3 o'clock. As is often the way. Job pinged up. There's a few jobs pinging up, but it was a bit quiet to be honest. And then a job pinged up, small van job from Bala. I don't know where Bala is. It's pretty much, it's kind of like well off the beaten track really in northeast Wales. So that's where I am now. I'm just waiting. I can't pick up. I got here about 40 minutes to wait. So that's Bala Lake in the background. What Bala's really well known for. Or to give it its Welsh name, Llyn Tegid. So might start a little feature going, which is every time I tip in my motherland in Wales, I might do Welsh word of the day. So for today, the Welsh word is Llyn. So at the top of your mouth and then in. So Llyn, which means lake basically. Whether it's a lake like this one, it's a genuine lake, or whether it's a reservoir. They're all Llyns in Wales. There's no separate word for reservoir. So he goes, Welsh lesson done. Yeah, so this is picking up at 6. So I got the job at 3:45, which wasn't all that bad because I sat there and had a few phone calls that I had to do. It's all right sometimes when you got job booked in, but plenty of time to get there. It gives you a chance to catch up on things. So I've phoned around a few places for servicing costs, but still haven't booked the van in for a service yet, but more on that another time. So it's picking up at 6, dropping off. Picking up 6 tonight, dropping off, final destination southeast London with a drop off in Brackley. And if like me you're wondering what the hell comes out of Bala, which is well off the beaten track at 6 in the evening on a Wednesday, going to southeast London via Brackley urgently tomorrow morning, cakes is the answer. So never would have guessed. Apparently there's some kind of bakery here, lab, or not, there's some kind of bakery here, and they go into a lab apparently. So I don't know, maybe they're trying to win a contract for supplying some supermarket. Who knows? You just don't know, do you? So yeah, that's the job. So I'm going to turn up probably about a quarter of an hour early. Hopefully I can get them on board early. Good thing about this job is it's I can stay at home. So I'm driving past my house pretty much. So yeah, I got to be in Brackley for 8:30, 9 o'clock-ish tomorrow, and then the next one's ASAP. So I priced this, it's a small van job, I priced it at 70 pence a mile, including getting here, which was like 30 miles. So I was quite confident of getting it. You know, there's not many people bidding for jobs out here on a Wednesday. Going down to southeast London, can't have an overnighter, just works out well for me. So yeah, that's Wednesday done, and always nice to come back into the hills. Should have a nice drive from here tonight. So that is definitely Wednesday done. Right, what a day makes. So yesterday was an alright day. Today I'm down in London. Pretty stressful drive down here this morning. So obviously the first part of this journey I did last night, that was really nice. Left Bala, driving over the mountains and moorlands, and watching out for stray sheep on the road. Really nice. Dropped down into Shropshire through a little town called Knockin. Knockin. Always makes me laugh when I go through there, because you can guess what the local village shop is called. So the town's called Knockin and there's a shop there. So I'll leave that for you to work out below if you can guess it. So yeah, it was quite a nice drive back home last night. This morning, complete opposite, you know, motorways and then into central London, or through pretty much central London, not quite the LEZ, just skirted around the edge of it. First drop was in Brackley, about 35-minute delay down to there, and then from there kind of to southeast London, Peckham, and the way Google took me was sort of skirting around the edge of the ULEZ, and I think I should have crossed the bridge at Vauxhall, and when I got there it was closed to general traffic, just open to buses and taxis, and it looks like it's been like that for ages, so Google doesn't obviously know about that. So that added 30 minutes to my journey. I had to head west and come over the next bridge, whatever that's called. Yeah, I'm not a fan of London. I just get really quite anxious driving around London, and more so London, but other big cities as well in the centres. You know, got bus lanes and all kinds of parking restrictions and one-ways. It's just, yeah, it's absolute nightmare. Not a fan of it. And when I got to the second drop, which is in Peckham, it's one of these places, you know, red lines everywhere, so obviously can't park at all on double reds at any time. Red, sorry. And parking on a single red, and I think I've got 20 minutes there. But then there's a residential address. The first one's a residential address as well. East Cakes. There's a flat in a block. There's block's got several entrances to it. It's on the high street pretty much. Trying to find it, she's not even in, so I had to phone the shipper, and they agreed for me to leave it with the landlord, who was just happened to be there doing some work. So sat now in sort of Peckham area, southeast London. Problem is, like, jobs come up and we're just over the river, but it's like 40 minutes away, and it's like 6-7 miles, 40 minutes. Nothing around here yet, and I want to be getting out of London. I don't want to be working in and around London. I don't mind around the M25 too much, but yeah, quite a stressful day so far. Hopefully get some out of here into, well, away from the urban sprawl, really. Not a fan of it at all. Sound like I'm moaning now, but anyway, that's Thursday, so far. Alright, Thursday afternoon now. So yeah, I got to that Sainsbury's car park where I was the last one, about 12:30. Sat there until about 3 o'clock. To be honest with you, it's quite quiet in London. So from now, I think my catchment area is obviously most of London, and it's very slow to feed. So I thought this last time I was down in London, I think the West Midlands and the North West generally are busier than down here. I think that's my taking of it. So yeah, I got a job. There's a job. I bid on a few jobs but didn't get them. Obviously being a bit selective, I wasn't going on for any local stuff. And then there's a job on there. I was in southeast London, SE15, which is Peckham, which is where Del Boy Trotter was from, of course. And then there was a job on there for NW5, so obviously the opposite side of London, going to Norwich, and it was on there for a while. But it was picking up at 5, so later in the afternoon, so I thought maybe nobody's bid on it because it's late pickup, and it's obviously going to Norwich. Short, small van job, but it's still on there. And I thought maybe it has sold. It's just been left on there. Sometimes get that. But then it was reposted. So quite often, what happens when the job's on there for quite a while, a courier will take down that job and then repost the job again. So I think they do that so it goes to the top of people's feeds, so they're more likely to see it, or just to show that it's still available. So I thought, bugger it, it's only 3 o'clock. I'm going to go for it anyway, because one in the hand, if I get it, one in the hand's worth two in the bush and all that. So I've quoted it at 75p a mile, including getting there, which was 11 miles. And getting up to Norwich. Norwich is obviously not the best area, but needs to get a job for the rest of today. Otherwise today's going to be a really poor day. So I went in at 75p a mile and got it. So I had plenty of time to drive up here, but it took me just about an hour and 5 minutes to do 11 miles. So that's London for you, and it wasn't particularly like loads of traffic. It's just traffic light after traffic light and bus lanes, and you really got to concentrate. So yeah, it's not my kind of driving around here, so I'll just be glad to get out of here today. And then probably going to end up staying in Norwich tonight and see what happens in the morning. Not the best area, but sometimes that works out for me locally. My luck's in when I go to these remote places. So that's probably pretty much Thursday done. So that job tip this morning I picked up yesterday, that was priced at 70p a mile, all mileage. That was 179. But that was obviously half yesterday, a third yesterday and 2/3 today. And this job's going to pay 105. So I'm still doing all right on a day, just a bit of a frustrating day with traffic in London and lots of sitting round. Oh, that Friday afternoon now. Sort of like late afternoon, mid-afternoon, sometime like that. So if you want to turn on. Yeah, so I should have said that last job yesterday, it was a COVID sample just from a private address, residential address, up to a lab the other side of Norwich, NR10, to some lab, just 2 little black envelopes. So dropped it off pretty straightforward, apart from it was like pick up at 5. I couldn't pick up before 5. I got there early and had the guy's phone number, so I messaged him, not being careful not to sound too pushy, but just let him know I was there like 45 minutes early, ready to go when he's got it ready. And he replied saying, sorry, I'm not going to be back till 5. So yeah, I didn't get going till 5, and it was drop off before 8, and it was a 3-hour drive. It was 130 miles, 3-hour drive. The first 10 miles took me an hour getting out of northwest London, because it was NW6 leaving at 5. And then the remaining 120 miles took 2 hours. So yeah, 60 mile an hour average for the last 2 hours and 10 mile an hour average for the first. That's London for you. Yeah, and then tipped in Norwich. Had to find something to eat, so went to a chippy. So I had to drive back to Norwich, about 10 miles. Got some nice chips, with some nice chips I've had in a while actually, really nice. And then I tramped in, just down the road from there, residential address. I didn't film it. Probably one of the best nights, if not the best night's sleep I had in the van actually. Not overly cold last night. And then this morning, I bid on a job just before 8 that came up. Great Yarmouth, which is about half an hour drive. Probably more than that. 30 miles and about 40-minute drive. About 40 minutes worth of punt because it's round here. There's not many drivers. Going to Cambridge area, sort of like east of Cambridge. And I thought I didn't get a job because it disappeared from my feed. I thought, oh, well, I didn't get it. And then 10 minutes later, the guy rings me and says, I've allocated you to that job, which is a new one. Normally it's, are you still available? But this guy's, I've allocated you to that job. I wasn't going to think, so all right, cheers mate. So got that, I got cracking, and that was picking up in Great Yarmouth from the race course, going to a lab, like I say, by Cambridge, east of Cambridge. So I thought, this is going to be more samples, isn't it? More COVID samples. Convinced it's going to be COVID samples. Got there. No, it wasn't COVID samples. Met the guy, real nice guy, quite a bit of a chat with him. It was urine samples from racing horses, so horse piss, in like a cool bag, 2 bags, quite big bags, but easy enough to carry. Yeah, so apparently all these horses, obviously, they have doping control to stop them performance enhancing drugs and stuff. And also they test the jockeys as well, but it was all, like I say, horse piss in this one, apparently. So yeah, pretty much straightforward. Hour and a half back over to by Cambridge, but not Cambridge itself. It was still about 35-40 minute drive to Cambridge from where I was. So yeah, I tipped that one, easy enough. Yeah, what did I pay? I can't remember. I'll do it in a summary. There's a few jobs picking up, but obviously East Anglia and even close to Cambridge is quite quiet. And there was one job on there, a small van job, going to London, southwest London. I thought I don't really want to go back to London, so I ignored it, and then it got taken off and reposted. So it said pays £90, and I thought, right, I'll check it out then. It was something like 75 miles loaded, pays £90, small van, and it's about 11 miles to get there, so it worked out. I think it was 94 miles in total round trip, pays 90 quid. So yeah, I went for it, got it, and it was much easier driving to London. Yes, I didn't go across the river, of course. So yeah, South Kensington to some Tesco store, and that was delivering bakery shelving for like a bakery unit. And then yeah, it was an interesting one. I thought I'd go around the back of the store, and I thought I'd have a loading bay, so it was on a pallet. I thought I'd be fine with a pallet, but no, I had to park out the front of the store. Lucky you could park there, no worries. It was just single yellow, so I'm fine. I was loading, obviously, or unloading, and it had to go through the main shop to the store. There's only one shop, he says, and all the cages have to go in and out of that door, and they don't take pallets, so I got stuck with a pallet. I've been lumbered with my first pallet, so it's taken a while, but it's bound to happen at some point. So I've got a pallet in the back I need to get rid of somehow this weekend or next week. Yeah, and then I've just moved along west towards Heston West Services on the M4, West London, hoping to get something from here taking me home, or maybe just a good paying job locally, but it's not massively busy, I'd say, for a Friday to feed. You know, London, all of London on my feed. Yeah, it's pretty quiet, to be honest, down here. So yeah, but I think I didn't want to come back into London. I try and avoid it, but sometimes it's unavoidable because so many jobs end up here. But yeah, that's Friday so far. Hello, so Sunday now. It's time for Sunday summary. So yeah, on the Friday, that job down to London ended up being my last job, so I sat in that service station on the M4, Heston Services I think it was, until about 5. No suitable jobs came up. Well, I bid on a few, but didn't get them. I said the feed was a bit quiet, quite disappointing for a Friday down in London area. So I ended up just trundling home. So yeah, it's not ideal, but hey ho, happens sometimes. So yeah, weekly numbers. So as ever, I'll go through each day as best I can. So Monday, all jobs this week are on the Courier Exchange, no Amazon Flex. So Monday was 63 and 153 for a day's earnings of 216. Tuesday was 145 plus 54, so it comes in at 197 for the day. And then Wednesday and Thursday I've going to group them together because I had that job from North Wales Bala down to London, which was split over the 2 days. So across Wednesday and Thursday it was 44, 117, 179 and 105, which comes to 445 for them 2 days. So that's good earnings over the 2 days. Friday was actually the worst day again, as it was last week. So Fridays are not what they were, but maybe I've just been in the wrong area. I don't know. So Friday was 63 and 90, it's 153, which means I, for the first time since lockdown, have hit my target, which I try and get £200 a day pre-VAT. And this week I did £1,011 over the 5 days. So that's good, but It's only slightly more than I've done last week and maybe about a month ago. That poor Friday, I thought I was on for a good week until that poor Friday, really good week. Mileage was 1,571 miles, so that's all miles from leaving my house on a Monday to getting back on the Friday evening. And I should say all these earnings that I've given then, as ever, are pre-VAT and also pre-costs, obviously. So total pence per mile is 64p a mile, which isn't great. I tried to have it closer to 70 really. I did 130 miles back from London empty on the Friday, and before that, up until that point, I was on about 70p a mile. I worked it out. So there, it shows you how just one longish empty miles job can knock the pence per mile down a bit. Yeah, so that was a week. Generally quite happy with it. In terms of CX, I don't think it's massively busy. I think I'm doing better now. I tend to spend less like 3-4 hour times when I'm trying to get a job and failing. I don't know if that's just luck, or maybe I just accepted that sometimes, long waits are part of it. I don't really notice them so much. And I think obviously my feedback, because when I came back to the CX after post lockdown, your feedback, I think what the shipper sees is the last 90 days, and I'd been off it for 90 days or over 90 days, so that had gone down to 0 again. Whereas now within the 90 days I've got 25 positive feedback and some good comments on there, so that helps. I think helps me win jobs and keep busy. Yeah, in terms of CX, Fridays, like I say, have been quite quiet. This Friday where I was in London, last Friday I was in the West Mids, and not what it was a few weeks ago. Don't seem to have that mad Friday rush, but yeah, it's just my takings, what I take from the week. Going into next week, got a job lined up for tomorrow morning, so I'll be out the door a bit earlier than usual on this Monday morning. But yeah, more of that in next week's vlog. So thanks for watching, hope you've enjoyed it. Any comments as ever on anything, please post them below.